All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nephos Group podcast. Today, we're here with our founder, Joe David. Welcome, Joe.
Thanks, Lucas. Good to be here.
Excellent. So this is the first episode of our podcast, and we're going to start off with just asking you a little bit about the history of the Nephos Group. So do you mind telling the audience a bit about, when you founded it and what you set out to do?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people that have been following me will have probably heard this story quite a few times anyway, but we'll go through it briefly. So I founded what wasn't Nephos at the time, but is now Nephos about 10 years ago, something like that. And the focus was always to be kind of breaking the mold in accounting, and to be focusing on kind of digital, innovative clients and using digital innovative tools. So that's kind of how we started. So we started on day one using cloud tools, Xero, Receipt Bank at the time, now Dext, and we've just kind of taken it from there. So like I say, that was about 10 years ago now, and yeah, that's where we started.
Fantastic. And so now you've rebranded from DS Accountants to the Nephos Group. What does the Nephos Group do, or let's say what services does it offer at a group level?
So, and I'll just start as well. The reason we rebranded was because the name, everything we said was that we weren't traditional. We weren't, your typical accountant, but our name was very typical accounting, right? DS accountancy,
it had accountants in the name.
It's just boring, and it didn't. For me anyway, it didn't give across what we were. So we actually enlisted a branding agency who worked with us to come up with some concepts, and Nephos was the one that we went with. And Nephos is, well, nephologists are, they study clouds, they study cloud patterns, and they use that to, when I say predict weather forecasts, I don't necessarily mean on the telly like we see, but they use that strategically to predict. And we wanted to kind of build on that philosophy that we use the data that we've got within the cloud's technology to help strategically support our clients through their business journey. So that's why we took that vision to change.
Sure.
And over time, what that's meant is that our vision to support entrepreneurs and founders and business owners is they actually need a lot more support than just accounting, which is where we then started building a group where we looked at mortgages, so we could help founders get mortgages, contractors get mortgages, those sorts of things. We looked at wealth management to be able to support, again, founders maybe when they're exiting, what they might do with those funds, but also as a business owner, how you might kind of tax efficiently extract funds from your business. And we'll touch on the biggest vertical later, but I think most people will know that's crypto, and with that we've done quite a lot of structuring work with clients as well to support them to how to set up their crypto business and where to set it up and stuff. So quite a few different angles to the group.
Yes, indeed. So started off with let's say Nephos Accountants, moved into Nephos Mortgages, Nephos Wealth, and Miner, which is the crypto arm, which is fantastic. So I think the Nephos Group would best be described as a professional services firm. So what differentiates you from other more traditional, let's say, professional services firms?
I think the first thing and the most obvious thing is the crypto side. That naturally does differentiate us from the majority of firms out there, accountants, lawyers, wealth management, etc. And hardly any of those sorts of people are touching crypto. So that's the first thing. And secondly, as much as it's a cliche type scenario, like we are different. We're here today, as a team, we're in shorts and t-shirts, and our office is much more relaxed than a kind of corporate office space and things like that. And I think that's the other thing, that we'll never pretend to be something we're not, if that makes sense. So we'll never, I'll never turn up in a suit for a meeting just because that's what I think. If the person doesn't want to buy what we are, then they won't buy us, and we won't make ourselves something we're not, if that makes sense. So that's quite important as well. And I think from our perspective, our focus is on building something that, like I say, business owners, founders, entrepreneurs, crypto people, etc., can use to help them through their business journey and their personal journey, and those things combine, right? That, you know, the first thing we want to understand is what do you want personally, and what do you want from the business, and how do we align those, and how do we support that? So yeah, I think that's our biggest kind of differentiation, is we're solely focused on delivering for the individual, for the business, etc.
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting point that you've made about understanding the holistic situation of, say, the individual and the business, because if it's a business owner and then they want to purchase a house, you can support them through mortgages. If they're holding crypto, it's more difficult to get, say, a loan from a bank using crypto as collateral, and so you're able to provide them with some support there. So you're looking at, let's say, what the journey or the experience is in a holistic manner.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, at the end of the day, it's all about what the owner of the business, or the founders, or the group of people that are involved in that business, right? It's all about what they want, effectively.
Yes.
And if if they want, you know, in a year's time to be working 2 days a week and the rest of it's out on the beach doing nothing, we've got to work out how we get them to that point. If they want to be working 7 days a week and grow into $1 billion company, we've got to help understand how we get them to that point, you know. And those two things, neither of them are right or wrong, but they're very different outcomes and they're very different journeys. So we just need to understand how. And if you do want to sit by the beach 3 days a week, we need to work out how we generate you enough personal wealth that you can do that you can buy a house, you know, on the coast or whatever, you know. So it's all those things are really important that actually are forgotten. So that, I think, is why I really like the first question of any relationship really being, well, what do you want?
Yes.
Where do you want to go? What's the journey? And we can then, you know, similar scenario I've said before is that if you wanted to go to somewhere in Scotland today, right, from where we are in the UK, and we just said, right, we want to go to Scotland, but we don't know exactly where we want to go. Yeah, it's impossible for us to plan our route because we've got absolutely no idea of where our end destination is, right? So we've got to understand where that end destination is. And then what happens, you plug that into your sat nav, and then the sat nav works out the journey that you need to go on in order to get there. And that's what we do. We plan that journey once you tell us what your end destination is. And that can change, you know, again, en route, you might want to stop off somewhere. You might want to go somewhere slightly different, whatever. That can change. But unless we know what that end destination is going to be, we can't plan.
I know. I really like that analogy, because you've focused on what the client's end goal is, and almost your service offering has evolved in order to address, you know, the stops along the way. And so it would be really good to understand what your expansion plans are looking forward over, you know, the next few months or couple of years.
Yeah, I think, as you know, as we've already kind of shown, we are willing to expand into areas that we feel are valuable to the clients that we've got, and all those sorts of things. Now, with that, we only want to expand into areas where we feel that we can offer a valuable service. So with mortgages, we partnered with a company that have been running a mortgage company for 15, 20 years or whatever. With wealth, you know, we've partnered with an award-winning wealth management provider in order to support us on that journey. So all of those things, the verticals, if you like, that we've gone into with purpose, and with, you know, actually having, you know, a serious kind of partner, if you like, to go on that journey with. I think the next one will be corporate finance. That's always been one of the pillars that I've wanted to have on our group. But again, we haven't had a partner that I felt comfortable offering that service from. So now we've got that, we're just signing the agreements, and we'll be able to work with them on that. You know, that's the next part. So again, on that business journey, you're looking to sell, again, with the corporate finance thing, you can be supported on that. So that's the next one. And then, like I say, we'll be open to what verticals will come, dependent on what clients need, what they ask us for, what might help them with their business. And if we can find a partner that can do that, or we can hire somebody in-house that can do that, fantastic. But at the same time, if we can't, we'll continue to partner with, you know, as an outsourcing perspective, with people, rather than trying to pretend we can do something we can't.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think although, it's a different, let's say, industry, by partnering with different firms to quickly increase the amounts of services you offer, you're almost replicating what Revolut did from a product point of view. They shipped as many products as they could in a short space of time, or on a more frequent cadence than others in the industry. Some products that they tested out, they did through partnerships. And so I think that's a fantastic way for, you as the business to continue to test new offerings.
100%. And that, ultimately that's how we met. We met because you were looking at Revolut, you were looking at your partner program, if you like, with with accountants. And,
yes.
and, so we met by that, that exact scenario that you're just talking about.
Yes.
So yeah, and look, it's really interesting because as a tech firm, you have this MVP idea, right? So you get something out there that is a product that you can get out there basically that works.
Yes.
It's not perfect, but it works, right?
Exactly.
And as a kind of an accountant or a professional services provider, whatever, we find that really difficult because actually you end up shipping a product that has flaws, right?
Mm-hmm.
But from a tech growth perspective, you have got to get stuff out there because you've got to learn what the flaws are in order to make amendments, et cetera, et cetera. So we're also trying to learn that a little bit, that everything doesn't have to be perfect.
Yes.
The delivery of the advice naturally has to be perfect in our space, given the severity of it if we got it wrong. But in terms of the actual, how that partnership looks and, all those bits and pieces and the marketing of it, et cetera, that doesn't have to be perfect. We just need to be able to deliver to our clients and learn, if you like, as we go.
Yes. Yeah. Fantastic. And I really like that, what you mentioned there about it's important to sort of just start working and start delivering. And Minor in particular has positioned itself as a leading professional services firm in the crypto space, which relative to other professional services spaces is still very new. And you're very much a pioneer in that space. So could you tell us a bit about what sort of brought you in or what started that journey?
I mean, what started that journey was YouTube.
Yes.
And a rabbit hole of videos that YouTube's the worst, but also the best, right? Because you watch something and then straight away it goes, oh, you've watched this, you should probably watch this.
Yes.
And in crypto, that list is just never ending, right? So there's a couple of reasons for it. One of the reasons was we were lucky enough to win a crypto client through just working with another kind of client of ours within Nephos, and their partner had a crypto business and they needed an accountant. So we were there naturally to talk to them about that.
Yes.
And we started working with them and we were learning on the job and all that sort of stuff, which was, everyone was aware that we were learning on the job and all these. So that's how it started. But for me, my ambitions are quite large. The team know that and love it, I'm sure. And we've got ambitions to grow, significantly over the next few years. And to do that, we needed to do something that was different, and we needed to do something that was, if you like, breaking the mold, and that sort of stuff. So, every accountant out there tells you how they're digital and they do this, that, and the other. What's different about that now? Nothing.
Yes.
So for us, we had to do something. From my perspective, we had to do something that would kind of break through that like resistance barrier, if you like, and just fly on through. And crypto was just that. So I spent a lot of lockdown watching videos, reading, researching, and I just became obsessed with crypto and blockchain and what it can do, the power of it, all those sorts of things. So that naturally then led me to, well, okay, who's doing it in this space?
Yes.
No one. Okay, so what could we offer? How could we support clients? And I was investing myself, so I understood the technical terms and all that sort of stuff. And it started with clients speaking to us and saying, blah, 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 crypto related conversation, and me actually understanding what they said.
Yes.
And most conversations they had with a professional services firm had absolutely no idea what they were talking about. So immediately I got buy-in, if that makes sense. So, so that's how it kind of came about. And initially, obviously, it was just an accounting firm offering accounting services. But now, yeah, we want to be the one-stop shop, if you like. If you're a crypto founder, if you're an entrepreneur in the crypto space, and you want to, set up your own business, or you've just set up your own business, and you need a professional services firm that will hold your hand through every part of that journey, that's who we want to be.
Yes.
You come to us and we will make sure that you achieve the goals that you want to achieve. That's what we want to do. And yeah, we've got some great stories at the moment of how we've done that, around setting people up in the right jurisdictions, making sure that they had the right company set up and things like that, making sure they spoke to our legal partners to get legal advice on token sales and, all those bits and pieces. And then, like I said, managing their personal funds, helping crypto people get mortgages, which is a task in itself.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But, I'm sure we'll come on to that at a later date. But, that is doable now as well.
Yes.
We've got a panel of lenders that will help. We've got a panel of solicitors that will work on that. So, yeah, so I think that's where Miner came from, a passion,
yes,
a bit of aspiration and ambition, and then also a bit of an obsession.
Yes, yeah, no, fantastic. And in terms of some of, I suppose, the additional work that you've been doing with, say, the FCA or Crypto UK, the OECD, I suppose a lot of the pieces you've been doing may have been in, say, working groups.
Yeah.
But can you talk a little bit about that? Because it is still a very fast-moving, let's say, area from a regulatory perspective.
Yeah, agree. And that, so we, very early on, we decided to become members of Crypto UK, which are a kind of trade body, non-regulated, if you like, trade body for crypto in the UK. And they are, they're there to kind of, lobby government on behalf of their members and, try and influence policy change and things like that. So we wanted to be part of that very early. We want to be part of the movement and part of the support. And, a prime example, like you say, a few prime examples, being invited onto one of the FCA virtual crypto sprints that they did. I think it was in June, maybe July, I can't remember now. And, I've got the feedback from that. I've read through it. It's really interesting to see what they've taken on board and what they haven't as well.
Yes.
We were asked then by Crypto UK to sit on an OECD meeting virtually. Well, they actually said we could go, but stupidly I decided to do it virtually. But now I wish I'd gone to Paris.
Paris. It's always a nice place to go.
Yeah. So now I wish I'd gone to Paris, like I say. But yeah, unfortunately we did it virtually. So we fed back to them on that. And then most recently we've been leading the charge, if you like, with the Crypto UK guys on our response to. So HMRC have put out what they call a call for evidence.
Yes.
And within that, they've said, we want to understand what is right and wrong about the DeFi guidance that we've put out. So decentralized finance, for those that don't know, and the tax rules that they've put through, et cetera, et cetera. We've been asked then to co-chair that response.
Fantastic.
So we've chaired one so far working group meeting with a group of professionals in the space. We've written up our kind of draft response, and we've got another meeting next week to talk through the second phase of that and how our response is going to look, with a view to then sending that on to government, with the backing of Crypto UK and the fellow members. So being able to lead something like that as well. And I'm really, as an individual, I'm really passionate about DeFi as well. I really believe in what DeFi can achieve. So to be able to help lead that change is really important as well.
Yes, absolutely. Well, look, Joe, thank you so much for providing that summary today about how the Nephos Group has expanded from accounting to mortgages to wealth, crypto accounting, and with a couple of more verticals and service offerings to come. It's been fantastic. Are there any closing remarks that you'd like to make?
I don't think so. I think I've covered the majority of what we are as a firm, but I want people to know that this for us is a long journey. We're here to grow significantly, and we'd love for people to join us on that journey, be part of it, And yeah, if you want to kind of follow what we're doing, we'll put all the links in the description. I won't bother saying them on here because people can never pick them up because they're so long-winded. Yeah, so we'll put all those links in the description, and if you want to reach out, find us and give us a shout.
Fantastic. Joe, thanks so much for your time. And everybody, thank you for listening. Stay tuned for more content.
Cheers.
Excellent.